that context, I just wanted to sort of end up by talking a little bit around what we see as the stuff that really works and what's really important to creating great change leaders. And it's based on that belief that change is a deeply human activity. It's not a process, it's not a technology, it's about people doing something different. And the best leaders of change are the ones that put people at the heart of everything they do. And they shape the culture, they inspire, they create belief, they create lasting impact. But that raises the question of, well, how do they do that? How do you put people at the center of everything? And a few of the things that we've kind of picked up and talked to people about is actually being very, so a bit of that self-awareness one, being very conscious of the communication style in the way you're planning comms. So often when we do change programs, it's kind of, oh yeah, we come up with a comms plan, and that means we just send out a monthly newsletter, we default to all of the standard things. But actually it's seeing the more nuanced side of communication that's actually understanding how you use different styles in communication to get your outcomes you're looking for. It's about having leaders that are really invested in self-awareness. And that's probably the biggest thing that I see in change programs, is actually having leaders who take the time and are open to really unpacking, how do I operate? What are my preferences? What are the defaults that I'm going to? How are other people observing the way that I am connecting with them, as opposed to how do I observe what I think is what I'm doing? And creating that language and openness to understanding preference and how they actually can adapt and have to adapt. I was working in an organization a few months back, and this was kind of the almost the blocker that we got to, that the leadership team had one particular style, and they kind of recognized that they had that style. They wanted an entirely different outcome for the organization, but they weren't willing to change their own style. And that created a disconnect that will forever haunt that organization as it goes through their change program, because they haven't got that self-aware and desire to change the way they work. You can do things like build behavioral frameworks, make it explicit around what good looks like in terms of behavior and style, so that people have a way to be accountable for those behaviors during a change program. Normal sort of good stuff like coaching and mentoring and feedback loops, all things that are really important to getting that change leadership capable to create real engagement. And I guess the final thought that I have for leaders and change leaders particularly is in that sense that attitude and approach is a choice. We actually can choose how we engage with people. And it's our ability as leaders to exercise that choice, whether that's in emotional intelligence, whether that's in communication style, whether it's in how we connect and adapt to build rapport with different people. We have the opportunity to exercise that choice, but it's a choice that we have to make. And it's not something we can project onto other people that, oh, that's their job to do that, or actually, I'm not changing. This is the way we run the business. And that's a personal choice as a leader, but it may not engage people in the change that you're trying to make.